Nothing gets fans more hyped than the buzz around new signings for their beloved clubs. However, the reality is not always a bed of roses. Sometimes it turns into a nightmare. Here are some Premier League transfers that shifted from promising to painfully unforgettable. Let's kick off with Moises Caicedo. The Ecuadorian midfielder snubbed Liverpool to join the Blues. Imagine signing a defensive midfielder for £115 million. It's natural to expect instant results. However, even in his first debut against Luton, Caicedo's performance was disappointing. Adapting at Chelsea seems more challenging, but at least Caicedo still has some time to prove himself. Because at only 24 Premier League games for Tiemoué Bakayoko, his relationship with Chelsea was over. Part of that famous AS Monaco squad that won the Ligue 1 title in 2017, he was a powerful destroyer and appeared the perfect replacement for the Man United-bound Nemanja Matic. Chelsea quickly signed him for £40 million from Monaco. He started well with a strong performance against Tottenham, but his downfall began in a humiliating defeat to Watford, with a 30-minute red card that saw his career at Chelsea fall off a cliff. The guy ended up in AC Milan at the time. And if we look back a little bit in 2008, Middlesbrough signed Afonso Alaves for £12.8 million from Heerenveen. The Brazilian had an outstanding goal-scoring record in the Eredivisie, smashing in 48 goals in 50 appearances for Heerenveen. It made sense for Middlesbrough to make their second most expensive transfer in their history. However, he was simply unable to make the step up to the Premier League and only scored 13 in 49 games for the club. Eventually, Alaves' lack of goal-scoring exploits contributed to the club being relegated in 2009. Moving forward, in what will go down as one of the most bizarre transfers of all time. In 2010, Ferguson decided to spend £7.4 million on the untested Baby, a Portuguese winger who was living in a homeless shelter little more than a year before arriving at Old Trafford. The story goes that Ferguson opted to sign Baby despite never having watched him play on the recommendation of his Portuguese assistant Carlos Queiroz. Baby is the only player I signed without seeing him in action. This boy had been playing homeless football and became a trialist for a second division team. We took a wee bit of a gamble. Of course, any Portuguese winger at that time had enormous shoes to fill at Old Trafford, given the impact that Cristiano Ronaldo had at the club between 2003 and 2009. Even Nani struggled to escape that shadow, so it was always going to be close to impossible for Bebe. But Winston Bogart's transfer to Chelsea was absolutely ridiculous. In 2000, Chelsea apparently signed Winston Bogart from Barcelona without then-manager Gianluca Vialli knowing about it, making his time at the club extremely difficult before it had even started. Claudio Ranieri didn't want him either when he came in, so Bogart was subsequently made to train with the youth teams every day on a reported £40,000 per week, with the Blues attempting to force him out. Bogart refused to budge on the money he was on, and the legend goes that he would often take a private helicopter from the Netherlands to training each day to make sure he honored his contract. During his time at Stamford Bridge, he would later say, "This world is about money, so when you are offered those millions, you take them. Few people will ever earn so many. I am one of the few fortunates who do. I may be one of the worst buys in the history of the Premiership, but I don't care." The guy ended up spending 4 years at the Blues, playing only 9 games. Contrary, Man United signing Angel Di Maria in the summer of 2014 from Real Madrid made perfect sense. He was their record transfer at the time at £59 million, having just helped Real Madrid to the Champions League with a man-of-the-match performance in the final. But he struggled to adapt to his surroundings, and his house being burgled certainly didn't help him settle. Imagine the expectation United fans had on him, just for scoring only 4 goals in 32 games. He really struggled with the pressure of being the club's main man. Even some say the number 7 Ronaldo jersey was too heavy for him. But if it was true, Alexis Sanchez would be the real victim of this jersey. In 2018, Man United made one of the worst swap deals ever with Arsenal when they swapped Henrik Mkhitaryan with Sanchez. Alexis Sanchez arrived in Manchester as one of the Premier League's best talents. However, he left as a failure. Beloved at Arsenal, Sanchez never produced the same form after making the long-awaited move to Old Trafford. He scored just 3 Premier League goals in his 18 months at the club and joined Inter on a free transfer. Back on defenders, Eliakim Mangala. In 2014, difficulties over third-party ownership meant that Manchester City eventually had to spend £42 million to land Eliakim Mangala from Valencia, at the time making him the most expensive defender in British football history. The Frenchman had his moments in a Man City shirt. He was superb on his debut against Chelsea, but things turned quickly when he scored an own goal and conceded a penalty against Hull City. And it was that kind of showing that became more frequent than any more positive display. He would eventually be shipped out on loan to Valencia and then Everton before rejoining the Spanish side on a permanent basis. Currently, there are other Premier League new signings that are not performing well, like Onana, Mudryk, and Antony. They are still finding their footing, but who knows? The beautiful thing about football is its unpredictability. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the ride, hit that subscribe button. More videos are coming.